Hi there, welcome to another episode of the Consultus Chat. I'm joined today by Candia.
Hi,
Good to see you, Candia. Do you want to introduce yourself, Candia?
Yeah, my name is Candia Kohler. I head up our cost optimisation and recovery audit service. I've been with the company for a long number of years now, and just seen this service grow and grow.
Excellent, thank you. Cost optimisation recovery audit, that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain what that covers and what it is?
Yeah, of course. So we shorten it down to CORA, so it's a bit easier out the mouth.
Yeah, okay.
And what it is about is looking at identifying cost-saving opportunities historically and going forwards as well. And really in-depth kind of forensic analysis on electricity, gas and water portfolios across a variety of different customers.
Okay. Is there a target type of customer that you look at? Is it open to all organisations, commercial businesses?
Yeah, it's typically open to all sorts of customers, from hotel chains, manufacturing companies. What really we're looking at is customers that have high volume, high costs, who are really interested in reducing those cost levels down and looking at the performance of their portfolios and how best to streamline it, tighten it up, and this is the service that can do that for them.
Excellent. So it's really based in finding savings from the energy estate, which we all know is key to many organisations, and to try and reduce their spends. I think typically energy and utilities is one of the top 3-4 spends for all organisations, particularly in the last sort of 2 or 3 years. How often typically do you find savings for these organisations that you do audits for?
So typically 93% of our customers, there is a saving opportunity.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, that's either across their historic side of their portfolios or looking at how to avoid costs moving forwards as well. So those are sort of a high value saving opportunity across our customers that do sign up to this kind of service.
Mm-hmm. How does so you mentioned there the sort of the historic and then the optimization part. How does that work? What do you need to do the service? Yeah,
so the service itself is a kind of a split service of looking back historically and also looking forward, so that we can see, okay, were you charged correctly to begin with by suppliers? And there's a variety of different billing errors that can occur, from change of tenancies and it's not quite happened on the right dates, to climate change levy exemptions not being applied, the rates themselves in contracts being incorrect. And that's something that we can look back over 6 years, which is
okay.
is distribution.
Yeah.
So we typically would look at all this variety of different charging mechanisms and how the supplier is billed as well, against what a customer is contracted to. So that's the historic element. With the ongoing and what we term optimisation is all about finding those nuances in customers' portfolios on how can they change certain meter classifications, certain standing charge levels, and that they're applied every month, but actually do customers need those levels? And there's certain activities that we can do in this service that will reduce and avoid those costs moving forwards. And that again adds value for budgeting purposes for customers, those who are keen on general reduction in spend, and looking at how their portfolios move around as well, because it's quite a flexible change, a lot of these portfolios.
Do you, the service cover fixed and flexible contracts, different contracts options that are out there?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll look at any kind of contracts that do come our way. Typically with the fixed contracts, you might find less opportunity because there's the way those contracts are built up are different. With flexible customer contracts, the way it's broken down a bit more, there are certain differences in how those charges are applied and are published as well. But there are also other contracts out there in the world that will have their own mechanisms, and we'd investigate and look into that.
As we know, so you're touching on it there, utility contracts are complex and ever-changing, often driven by legislation. How do you stay on top of that? I imagine that legislation drives different energy costs and energy charges and utility charges. How do you and the team stay on top of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we would research very proactively about upcoming industry changes. One key area was we've seen from Ofgem's targeted charging review, a lot of big industry changes that has affected end user spend. One of those key areas we've managed to see savings in up to 500k since those changes were applied in April 22. So it shows how current and how different the service can be and adapts to before it even hits the customer.
Okay, excellent. So 93% of organisations that you provide audits for, you find errors. Why are there so many errors?
It really is a case of what's happened in the customer's portfolio, that there's maybe a slight miscommunication between supplier, consultancy and the customer, change of tenancies, things like that. And suppliers, they might have different billing systems that they update, and we may be more proactive to the changes that are upcoming in the industry, and the suppliers are almost there. We just might have that disconnect. That's typically.
Yeah, okay, all right. So, Candia, many businesses will be wanting to get hold of any way that they can reduce cost or bring revenue through savings back into the business. They will naturally ask, how long does this process take? How long does a typical audit take to deliver?
Good question. It can really vary depending on the size of portfolios, the contracts, but the message is what we'd want to see is actually a lot more opportunity. So the longer it takes, it actually could be beneficial.
Okay.
There's a lot more investigation that can happen. But also, there are certain items within the audit process that can happen very quickly. One occasion is saving a customer up to 100k over a 2-month exercise.
Okay.
So a really special way of trying to get that information out to the customers is letting them know regularly what their updates are, how they're progressing in the audit, and what savings are being found either historically or ongoing. Okay,
so it's almost a process that happens over several months.
Yes.
And it's not just one piece of one saving that's delivered and that's it. You might find multiple things that get delivered over that several months that Absolutely. Might bring different stages of savings back to an organisation.
Yeah, absolutely. And to go back to us looking at the industry, we wouldn't necessarily say this audit is complete. It is complete in its moment in time, but as the industry changes, new opportunities could arise where we can look back and Ofgem have made a change in how they operate or what have, and there's further savings to be made.
Okay, excellent. And just finally, what do you need from organisations, businesses to actually enact this service?
Typically, it's just an understanding of their portfolio, contracts, invoices, any particular historic changes of when sites came on board, when they didn't, and it's really just getting that first understanding, any exemptions, those key items. But there are obviously certain things that we'll be able to obtain and support on, but typically if more information is provided from the customer, we'd be able to investigate that far quicker, and hopefully that audit process will be a bit shorter.
Excellent. Candia, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. That concludes Consultus Chat. See you all soon.